I want to thank our reader and Gary Lynn Floyd and the CSL music team for the support for this message that helps make it so fabulous. And as we stay on this journey through the untethered soul, we continue the discussion of Part 5, Living Life, which is the final section in our series book. And today we're concentrating on chapters 17 and 18, Contemplating Death and the Secret of the Middle Way. In these sections, Singer emphasizes how death can put things in perspective and how balance, the middle way, helps us to find and to sustain clarity. So first, let me give you your question for the week. What is the one choice that you can make today to choose to live every moment of your life fully and to remain centered, living in the middle, the balanced place, that place of harmony, that you might sustain clarity? One more time. What's that one choice you can make today to choose to live every moment of your life fully and to remain centered, living in the middle, the balanced place, the place of harmony, that you might sustain clarity? The reading on contemplating death today began with these amazing words. It is truly a great cosmic paradox that one of the best teachers in all of life turns out to be death. No person or situation could ever teach you as much as death has to teach you. Death is a master teacher and the source of human meaning. Contemplating its unpredictability, the fact that it may come to you at any place and any time, puts the problems that you think you have in perspective. Reflecting on death nudges you to work toward your greatest potential, to surround yourself with love, to think critically about your desires, and to set your priorities right. In my time on this planet, I have so found those words to be true. Death has been one of my greatest teachers, teaching me how strong I am, how resilient I am, how much I can rely on spirit to see me through the times in my life when I just wanted to roll over and give up. Many of us have experienced loved ones who have had their heaven birthday before ours came along. My grandfather died when I was about 6, and my dad when I had just started 9th grade. And both of those young life experiences showed me the impact that the people we love have on our lives. I had never seen my daddy cry until Grandpa Heyl died. And I had never felt lost like I felt when my own daddy died. I was a crybaby according to many of the people around me. I wore my feelings on my sleeves, and yet when Daddy died, I couldn't cry. I learned later in life I was just in shock. It was sudden. It definitely gave new meaning to that phrase, here today, gone tomorrow. My daddy was my entire world. I woke up with him at 5 every day and sat and chatted as he cleaned the pool before it was time for me to get ready for school. We had a special bond in those early mornings, and he let me chatter away, loving all of who I was, even though he often called me the Alcoa Hour. And for those of you who are younger, the Alcoa Hour was one of the few television shows that aired back then, and Daddy thought they took way too long to get to the point, probably because they had a whole hour of airtime to fill. Anyway, back then, what I mistakenly believed was that death was telling me to guard my heart. The real lesson was to appreciate every moment we have with those we love. And it took me years to figure that out. Ernest Holmes, our founding father, reminds us, death is not the end, but a transition to another life. This perspective challenges us to perceive death not as an endpoint, but as a transformational passage. It urges us to embrace the continuity of existence beyond the physical realm, fostering hope and resilience in the face of loss. Singer takes us even further, asking a very important question in this particular chapter. Imagine if you knew you were going to die within a week or a month. How would that change things? How would your priorities change? How would your thoughts change? Think honestly about what you would do with your last week. What are you doing with life? That is what death asks you. Not only is that the question death asks you, it's essential to you living as an untethered soul. How can we live untethered if we fail to make a habit of considering what we would do with our last week alive? Ask yourself, why would you live any other way, considering this week could actually be your last week alive? You don't have to make any major changes. You just have to find ways to live fully. Give up the fear and need for control and be present in every moment. Enjoy the small pleasures the way a person with a week to live might do. Reflecting on death is not a call to pursue some more experiences or to take more trips. It's a call to find more depth in the experiences that we're already having. In the tapestry of life, death serves as a poignant reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. As Home eloquently put it, the life of the soul is never ending. And through that lens, we understand that the lessons that we learn from death transcend the boundaries of time and space, and they guide us towards greater understanding, greater compassion, deeper love. Singer wrote this: "What is inside of us that is so afraid that it keeps us from just enjoying life? This part of us is so busy trying to make sure the next thing goes right that we can't just be here now and live life. Don't you want to live before death comes?" I know I want to live life to the fullest. How about you? So how do we live life fully? Singer actually gives us a few ways that we can truly live life. Be willing to say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done. Be willing to be fully present without being afraid of what will happen in the moment. That's how people live when they face death. I know it's sometimes a challenge for me to say what needs to be said, though I'm fairly good at doing what needs to be done. I can't say I'm always fully present, though I know I spend a lot less time now being afraid of what will happen. I love that Singer also tells us this: life itself is your career, and your interaction with life is your most meaningful relationship. Everything else you're doing is just focusing on a tiny subset of life in the attempt to give life some meaning. What actually gives life meaning is the willingness to live it. It isn't any particular event. It's the willingness to experience life's events. So don't be afraid of death. Take Singer's advice. Let it set you free. Let it encourage you to experience life fully. But remember, it's not your life. Experience as much of life as you can, as deeply as you can. Experience as much of life as you can, as deeply as you can. Lesson 292 in A Course in Miracles reminds us, Forgiveness is the means by which the fear of death is overcome, because it holds no fierce attraction now, and guilt is gone. So if these few days were your last, would you want to live them in anger or upset with someone or something? Or would you want to live them in love and joy and coming into home plate with everyone cheering? I know what I would choose. And I know that Singer's chapter on the middle way helps us stay in that mode of love and forgiveness. I actually love the chapter on the secret of the middle way because the Tao Te Ching, an ancient Chinese text attributed to the sage Lao Tzu, has always been one of my favorite writings. Singer introduces this concept of the middle way as the path of balance and moderation that transcends extremes and fosters inner harmony. Further, he invites us to reflect on our tendencies towards extremes and the impact they have on our well-being and on our spiritual growth. As Singer writes of the Tao, it is a treatise on the balance of the yin and the yang, the feminine and the masculine, the dark and the light. You can easily read the Tao Te Ching and never understand a single word, or you could read it and tears could pour from your eyes with every word you read. For me, it was that latter, because every line is filled with heart-based insight on how to live and how to truly be an untethered soul. This timeless wisdom offers guidance on living in harmony, and it invites us to embrace simplicity and humility and the natural flow of life. Singer puts it this way: life is a balance between holding on and letting go. To live in the middle way is to embrace that profound truth, recognizing that true liberation arises when we navigate the complexities of life with equanimity and grace. The Tao Te Ching begins with this famous verse: the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. This opening passage reminds us that the Tao is ineffable, beyond words or concepts. It's the underlying principle of existence, the source of all things, and yet it defies description. We can reflect on the concept of the Tao as the natural order of the universe, the rhythm and flow that permeates all of creation. And as we contemplate its mysteries, we cultivate humility and openness, recognizing that the Tao cannot be fully grasped or understood with the intellect alone. The Tao, the middle way, is the balance between the extremes of everything: relationships, food, work, action, inaction. Like a pendulum, nothing in life can remain in the extremes for long. Anything grounded in the center can remain there eternally, and it can do so in perfect harmony. The extremes waste your energy, both as you pursue them and as you deal with their consequences. If you commit to eat just enough food every day to stay healthy, you don't have to avoid food or find more of it. And you don't have to struggle with being underweight or overweight. When you live at the extremes, you exhaust the energy you would use to move and grow. Learning to navigate extremes involves a process of recognizing and releasing our attachments to rigid beliefs, habits, and patterns of behavior. Singer suggests that true freedom arises when we transcend the limitations of dualistic thinking and embrace the middle path of balance and moderation. So just for a moment, reflect on the ways in which you might be caught up in the grip of extremes, whether it be in your relationship, your work, your spiritual practices. Is there a way that you might cultivate practices of self-awareness, discernment, flexibility, knowing that true liberation arises when you release your attachments and embrace the fluidity of the middle way? Living in the center simplifies and clarifies life. To bring yourself to the center, stop channeling your energy into the extremes. Watch your energy drift to the extreme when something infuriates you or unsettles you in some way, but don't follow it there, and you'll come back to center. So how do we stop channeling our energies into those extremes? The Tao extols the virtue of simplicity and humility, teaching us to embrace the path of non-striving and contentment. One of the passages in the Tao is this: simplicity, patience, compassion. These three are your greatest treasures. Is it not true that wealth lies not in material possessions or external achievements, but in the simplicity of heart and mind? If we choose ways to simplify our life and cultivate a spirit of humility, and embrace the practice of letting go of egoic desires and attachments, we align ourselves with the natural flow of the Tao. And our reward when we embody simplicity and humility is we find greater peace and greater contentment in our lives. The Tao teaches us to live in harmony with the middle way, flow with the rhythms of nature, and embrace the principles of Wu Wei, or non-action. As it's written, do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving until the right action arises by itself? I know for me, waiting on something is one of my biggest challenges. And this passage about the mud settling is such a beautiful example of invoking non-action. Stir up something with mud in it and notice how long it takes to settle. It's not quick. Waiting can be challenging and most definitely tries my patience. The Tao teaches the concept of Wu Wei and the importance of trusting the unfolding of life without force or resistance. A lot like that non-resistance we talked about last week. Part of the secret of the middle way is learning to surrender to the natural flow of the Tao, allowing life to unfold with ease and grace. And as we align ourselves with the Tao, we do find greater peace, greater harmony, and greater fulfillment in our lives. Cultivating equanimity is the cornerstone of the middle way. Singer encourages us to develop a sense of inner balance and stability that enables us to navigate the fluctuations of life with grace and with resilience. There's a transformative power of equanimity in its ability to anchor us in the present moment amidst life's challenges and uncertainties. And when we're anchored in the now, we let go of judgments and are just living without judgment of ourselves or others. Singer writes, "You cannot be free if you are constantly judging yourself." Think about how many times you judged yourself yesterday, today, the previous week. A lot of those judgments were probably, I should have, or I should not have thoughts. True liberation arises when we cultivate self-compassion, acceptance, and equanimity in the face of life's inevitable ups and downs. And as we integrate these teachings into our lives, it's important we remember the journey toward balance and harmony is ongoing. It requires courage, humility, and a willingness to embrace the fluidity of existence. It means cultivating practices that facilitate equanimity, balance, moderation, knowing that true liberation arises when we actually can navigate those complexities of life with grace and resilience. In the words of Lao Tzu, the Tao is like a well, used but never used up. It is like the eternal void, filled with infinite possibilities. So may we draw inspiration from that boundless wisdom in the Tao as we journey forward on this path of self-discovery and spiritual growth. Let's carry its timeless wisdom in our hearts and minds so that we can cultivate simplicity, humility, and harmony, and embracing the natural flow of life, finding greater peace, and finding contentment along the way. And I want to end with these words of Michael Singer that might inspire us to embrace life fully and to cherish every moment and to find comfort in the eternal dance of existence. Here's what he has to say. As you enter by not participating in the swings, the energies will naturally find their balance. You will become much clearer because so much energy is flowing up in you. The experience of being present in each moment will become your natural state. Once this happens, events will no longer seem confusing or overwhelming, no matter what they are. Now that is living life. So in summary, how might you always choose to live every moment of your life fully? Well, choose to live life fully. Live each day as though it were your last. Say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done. Remain centered, living the middle way. Invite simplicity and avoid the extremes. And stop channeling energy into dualistic thinking. Stay balanced. Balance holding on and letting go. Allow life to unfold with ease and without force. And allow equanimity to anchor you in the present. So here's your affirmation for the week. How is it I so willingly, energetically, and effortlessly choose to live every moment of my life fully? To remain centered, living in the middle, the balanced place, the place of harmony. Make a conscious choice this week to live every day to the fullest and to stay centered. And find a way each day to read a little bit of the Tao and to notice if you're being drawn in by extremes. Let's pray. We take a deep, nourishing breath. We settle into that place where we know the best of who we are, where we know that Spirit lives. What I know to be the truth is that each of us has found something in this message that is helping us to stay centered, to stay in that place of balance, to know the secret of the middle way. And I am grateful that we are each here to support each other, to be available when we need each other and we find ourselves moving to those extremes and would like to be gently brought back. So I am grateful. I am so grateful that the God without is the God within each of us. And it's from that gratitude that I release these words into the law of mind, spirit, and action, knowing the truth. They're already done. So I can say amen, and we can affirm it together. And so it is. So I'm so grateful to everyone who continues to donate, that makes it possible for us to keep looking for a place to have online and in-person services, and to keep bringing our messages of love and acceptance to the world. Enjoy our offertory song.